Hello, everybody. It's Gary Stuckey here with Real Music. On today's show, I've got two of the members of the group, the Undercovers, talking to me today. And they're not detectives, they're talented singers and musicians. And had a great time chatting with them all about the music and the songs that they cover. Now, they do covers of Kenny Rogers, Smokey Robinson, and Lionel Richie. Now that's a bunch of cool songs, right? And to hear them live would be really cool. I've got to do that very soon. But the members of the band, Luke McMaster, his writing credits have sold millions of copies for superstars like Rihanna. It has collaborated with legends like Smokey Robinson, Lamont Dozier, Felix Cavaliere, and Jim Brickman. And they've teamed up for a single called Good Morning Beautiful. And also, Joel Parisien is best known as the frontman of Newworldson, earning 4 Juno Award nominations, penning 3 top 5 Billboard singles, and I love their music. He wasn't available today. He's on vacation. Had to talk to him one day soon. But also Kevin Pauls, it was here today. He's a gospel and CCM icon, often sharing the stage with many of his musical heroes, such as the Gaither Vocal Band, Michael English, Russ Taff, Steve Archer, and Stephen Curtis Chapman, and a whole lot more. They recently released their first single, Islands in the Stream, an awesome cover that you may have heard of with Kenny and Dolly, but they do an awesome job. And gonna have a single released in the fall, The Gambler, coming very soon. That's gonna be cool. And a brand new album also. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing them in concert near me in Pensacola. But here we go. Here they are, the Undercovers. So y'all are the Undercovers. I got two of the guys. Somebody's missing. Who's missing?
Joel's missing. He's on vacation this week and he couldn't come back for this, so we decided we'll take it anyways.
He took the name, the Undercovers, too literally, and he is undercover.
It's too hot to be undercover. Hey, hey, the corniness continues. Well, yeah, Joel now he will miss out on me saying that I'm a fan of his. I think from Newworldson.
Oh, and, that's so cool.
And I love. I mean, what is it? There Is a Way.
Yeah, incredible song.
So good, and of course both of y'all I've heard of before, and great music too. But that's why I was excited to talk to y'all today about, of course, Luke McMaster and Kevin Pauls. And you were talking about Undercover. Now, I know you do cover songs, and I'm thinking of cover bands, and I'm also thinking of tribute band. This is not a tribute band, and you're not dressing up like Kenny Rogers and putting on an afro or something like the old Lionel. I like the old Lionel with the big hair.
That's right.
He was awesome. Still is. But y'all not doing that. You're not dressing up. You're doing covers. You're focusing on the songs, but you're doing it in your style. I mean, there's probably some similarity because you got it's the song that people know, so you're going to have some similarities. How do you try to capture that vibe when you're doing a certain song by these guys? And we're talking about the 3 R's. Not reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Those are the other 3 R's.
I'm sorry. Talking about Kenny Rogers. Kenny Rogers. Smokey Robinson.
The great thing about these songs is they lend themselves to singers. So I've never been like Luke is an incredibly accomplished songwriter, and so is Joel. I've dabbled I dipped my toe into the water of songwriting, but I've always considered myself an interpreter of songs. So these songs, none of us wanted to pigeonhole ourselves into, okay, this is the way Lionel does this, or this is the way Smokey does this. We wanted to be able to take these songs, stay true to the melody, stay true to the feel and the emotion, but put some artistry into it and kind of breathe new life into them. And so when you're singing these songs, I wanted the ability to connect to it emotionally and how that makes me want to sing a song. And so those are the tweaks we've done. We've done, what we did with The Gambler is kind of cool, and you'll hear that. We did a little bit different version of The Gambler that we haven't done with some of the other songs. But there's something about interpreting a song and allowing the emotion I felt when I heard the song to translate into the way we do it. And we're finding it's resonating with people. So we're
Yeah,
not straying too far.
when Kevin does Lady, for example, he does it his way. He's got a very powerful tenor voice, and I can tell you, if you come to see one of our tour dates, it gets a wow. Like, not just like literally people are like, wow, when he's done that song. And that's what's cool about this show too, is getting to be a fan. Like you said, you're a big fan of Joel, Newworldson. So am I. And I've been a fan of Kevin's for a long time. And I get to sit there and sing harmonies and not have to carry the weight of fronting a band the whole time. So that's super cool. And just to build on Kevin's point about reimagining this music, I think that we'd never really know so thoroughly that we were on the right track until Smokey Robinson himself was blown away by what we'd done with his songs, particularly Ooh Baby Baby, which, if you're talking about reimagining a song and doing it your own way, that song, the original song is about 58 beats per minute. We sped it up to 90 beats per minute. We took it out of 6/8 time. Like, we really changed it, but the song was always intact. The melody and the chord structure, we would never mess around with these classic songs, but we like to do them our way. And Smokey, that's what he said. I don't think he ever would have reached out if it had been just a standard cover of the songs. He would have just been like, oh, okay. But he actually called me and said, look, I had to track you down. I had to tell you, this is my favorite version of the song, and I love the way that you do it, but I also love that you made it your own. So that just had huge resonance with us.
Yeah, that's pretty huge.
That's got to make you feel just, that helps your confidence when you're singing. And now, you're like, I can do anything.
Yeah, if anyone started to heckle, we'd just be able, well, hey, call Smokey if you like.
If you don't like it, call Smokey.
If you don't like it.
I mean, come on. You can't say anything. You can't top that. Come on, people.
Honestly, career defining, we've all done a lot of special things and stuff. For me personally, I'm the guy in the band that sings the higher harmonies. I sing a lot of falsetto, and I always was that way. In fact, I used to get beat up by my three brothers because they said, you sing like a girl. Like, what are you doing? Growing up in northern Manitoba with a bunch of hockey players for friends and stuff. And I'm this kid that's singing all these super high notes and loves Motown for some reason. And when I started hearing Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, it just all of a sudden, it's like, oh, it's okay to sing like that. This guy's so cool, and he's doing it. And it really paved the way. So to be able to spend some time with him, and Kevin has spent time with Smokey as well. Kevin spent time with Kenny Rogers too. So he's really running the gamut. So but yeah, it was pretty cool.
So and then Lionel Richie, I guess, will be on the next go golfing or something. Hey,
we gotta get Lionel golfing. That's the next plan.
Well, here's a little side information thing on this. Talking about Lionel Richie. Lionel Richie was married to a lady from right here in Bruton, Alabama. And I think when his ex-mother-in-law died, I think he may have came. I know his daughters came down here to Bruton. So he's got some ties to this town. Of course, he's from Tuskegee.
Yeah.
And Kevin, you talk a lot about that in the show too. Actually, talk a little bit about how it's so interesting, counterintuitively, how country influenced Lionel is.
Lionel's almost more country than Kenny ever was. And it's funny, some of the stuff that, I love the album Share Your Love that Lionel Richie produced, wrote most of the songs. It actually ended up being a real country feel produced by Lionel Richie. You would have thought this would have been all these pop R&B ballads.
Right.
And Lionel brought some of the country out of Kenny that wasn't there, prior to that. So that's pretty cool when he's got some pretty deep country roots. And that's what I think makes this music so great. Even Smokey's music, Lionel's music, and Kenny's music they transcend genre and timeline. Because the music is so good, you can sing them in any generation, in any way, and that melody stands out. Right. But I'm telling you, it's beautiful.
Great example of that, Kevin, too, is like we were wanting to do one of Kevin's favorite songs, Blaze of Glory, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin, but was produced by Lionel.
It
And
was
it's
the first. It was the first song on that album.
very country song. And we were talking about doing it live, and okay, we're going to have to bring in all these different elements. And then one night we just decided, backstage, we were warming up, and we hadn't even worked the song into the set yet, but we were just warming up. So I had my acoustic guitar and just strumming it, and the three of us singing, because there's so much three-part harmony in that song. And we were just like, whoa, let's try it this way. So Kevin's like, I want to do it old school. Like, get rid of the mics. We're just going to stand at the front of the stage, and the three of us are going to sing that song, Blaze of Glory. And it brought the house down. And it was like such a cool moment. But speaking to Kevin's point, when the song is that good,
Yeah.
and we pride ourselves on our harmonies, and we're three singers that have really different sounding voices, and we all love to sing, and we love singing harmony as well. And the combination of the three voices happens to just be this blend that it's like such a blessing. And songs like that just really come to life. So it's been really cool.
Right. And all these songs, I mean, there's a huge catalog dating way back through all these guys. How do you decide what songs to do, and do you kind of do some new ones and throw some out there? Does somebody out in the audience go, Freebird? No, not Freebird. No,
it's not easy.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things we wanted to do is we wanted to make sure that when a song started, the hair on your arm stood up. There needed to be this wow moment. And we inserted a song called Love Lifted Me that may not be, unless you're a Kenny Rogers fanatic, it may be too much of a deep dive where I didn't know that song. But it's one of those songs at the end of it, you're going, oh, I totally get why you included this.
Right.
Every song needs to say that. But the problem is we could do 3 or 4 more iterations of this show and still have those moments happen, because there's just so many good ones. So we got together, figured what's gonna work within our voices, and what's gonna work within this iteration of the show, because we've got all kinds of other songs that we could throw in there and create more medleys and banter and have some great ideas with these songs. But right now we've picked kind of the cream of the crop, and it's working.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really interesting how these three artists, and we talk much more about this at the show, and I really encourage people to come to the show. Obviously, I want you at the show, and I want to see people there, but it's just, even if I wasn't part of the band, I would really want to see this show, because it's just so interesting how connected these three artists were and how well these songs work together. And we chose songs, it's funny. I can't lie to you. We had some arguments for sure, because there's so many good songs. Like, how do you pare it down? We only have a certain amount of time in the evening, and certainly we plan on coming back multiple years to venues and areas, because we have so much material that we can keep it fresh as long as we want.
Yeah.
But there, like Kevin mentioned, Love Lifted Me, which was Kenny Rogers' title track from his gospel album. And Kevin, who has done so much amazing work with the Gaither singers,
Gaither Homecoming.
Gaither Homecoming.
Yeah, that works.
Like he has such a powerful voice, and that song, Joel and I actually, I mean, Kevin would do any Kenny Rogers song. You could name it. He would love to sing it. But we were just like, we really fought for that song, because we're like, Kevin, this suits you so, this is so in your wheelhouse. We have to do it. And it's just a beautiful song. And when we started doing it, right from the first night of doing that song, it has this uplifting, just Love Lifted Me. Everyone's singing along by the end, and there's tears of joy, and it's such a powerful song, especially the way Kevin does it. And again, Joel and I really support him, and it allows Joel, and since you're a fan of Joel, you'll know this, to just take it to church on the piano, and it's a mic drop for sure.
It really is. It's magic. And I think one of the things that I love about this show so much is that when I'm not singing, I'm still having a great time. I get to see Luke do the music and obviously he gravitates a little bit more to Smokey because of the way he can sing Smokey stuff. But every time I've never enjoyed Smokey as much as I have standing beside Luke doing Smokey. I'm just like this music moves you. The lyrics move you. And then you've got Joel on the other side on the piano. Often we're mixing he does some Smokey stuff too, but man, when he starts singing Lionel Richie
Oh boy.
and combined, there's so many moments, and I've never been more excited to be on stage and not sing a note because you've got songs that are great, and you've got guys that actually are world-class singers just singing their faces off, and I just get to sit back and enjoy it with a front row seat. I'm literally, after 40 years of touring around the world, I've never had this much fun doing music. Never.
Yeah, and we kind of joke about it because, you know, we're like, so far so good. The audiences have just absolutely had a phenomenal time, but we honestly say, like, we're probably having more fun than you guys. This is just so much fun. The music's just so good and it carries you along. And, you know, like, speaking back to the reimagine and how this isn't really a traditional cover band, it's not a tribute band. A great example, Kevin, would be Hello. When Joel sings Hello, a signature Lionel, like, you can't, how do we pick the songs? Well, that's when we'd be run out of the place if we didn't do it.
Right.
But Joel kicks Kevin and I off the stage. He's like, okay, get out. And he's on the piano alone. And he if you've heard Joel, you know how soulful his voice is. He has an incredible soulful voice. And he makes that song his own. But you would never go, wow, that's just so different. What song is he singing? Lionel Richie would love what he does with the song. Yeah. All of the Lionel Richie fans out there love what Joel does with the song, but he makes it his own. Because by making it his own, he elevates it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Right. Yeah. I think there's a definite talking about Love Lifted Me, which was one of my favorite gospel songs. You know, it's a touching song anyway. And the words are uplifting, encouraging, because how many people do you know that aren't going through something? And then when you bring in people together, you know, in the name of music, I mean, you're with people that you grew up listening to that have said that you're doing a great job with your song, and the people are coming together enjoying it.
Yeah,
there's enough love in a concert setting and excitement and fun that you probably don't want to leave that spot. It's almost like a church setting,
it is.
Right? It's got to be like that, right?
It's very
healing.
It's a very spiritual experience when you get people in the room that want to have a good time. They all love this music, and we love this music, and there's instantly this spiritual and emotional connection that happens that you just don't get in other settings. This is one of those settings that you can put down all of your angst, and you can lose yourself in the melodies and in the lyrics and in this camaraderie that all of a sudden the people that are all around you, everybody's just kind of shaking their head, looking at each other going, yeah, this is great, because we're doing the same thing. It moves us on the stage. And if it can move us on stage, that translates to an audience. I get goosebumps every night. And I literally do. I'm not even, there's no hyperbolic statement in that. I literally feel the music and get excited. And when we can do that, when the music is that good, it resonates with an audience, and it's healing.
Yeah, 100%. And it's funny because, you know, as we went down this path and as we're on this musical journey, we're all learning, just like the audience almost, we're learning things about this music and how connected it is to these three artists, how connected people are, and then our own experience through like this music through the lens of our own experiences individually, because Joel has had some really interesting, at times hilarious, introductions to some of this music. He grew up in a Jamaican community in Toronto, and he quickly realized how connected the Jamaican community was to Kenny Rogers. And I won't give away the punchline here because I cannot tell the story like he can. He does the best Jamaican accent you've ever heard in your life because he was raised by a Jamaican family, or partially raised, and just stuff like that where you're just like, wow, like I'm a student of music, as is Kevin, as is Joel, and being on stage for the first time with three people that we're all frontmen of bands their whole careers. We've all fronted bands and been the main kind of singer on stage. And again, to be able to just sing harmonies and then also be on the road and talking about these songs and finding out new stories about them and talking to people like yourself who also, there's always something you're going to learn about, especially Kenny Rogers. I mean, what a career the guy had.
Yeah.
How many other careers did he change?
Yeah.
When, you know, we were just talking about Don Schlitz and just like, you know, writing to, in my estimation, one of the most incredible songs ever written, The Gambler.
Yeah.
But it had been covered how many times and really didn't do much. And then of course, Kenny comes in and just,
There's that.
so yeah, just some really cool stories.
Well, talking about cool stories now, and I'm sitting here talking to y'all, and y'all from Canada, different backgrounds. I know, Luke, you wrote songs for Rihanna,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
I
you're
wrote
with
a
the
song for Rihanna. Yeah.
You wrote a song for Rihanna, and you're with a guy that was with the Gaither Vocal Band on stage, and
Yeah.
people like that. You got another guy from Newworldson, different background. I mean,
Yeah.
but y'all came together. When y'all first came together, how did you click? I mean, I know you got different vocal styles, which is each unique, each awesome in their own way, but how'd you come together and go, you know what, we may have something here? Was there an instant connection?
I gotta hand that. I gotta hand the mic over to Kevin on that one because I think he pretty much has full credit on this.
Well, Joel and I knew Joel. We grew up probably 40 minutes from each other. And so I watched their career go, and I'd been singing, in a different genre, but we knew each other. And I'll never forget the night I saw Newworldson open for Israel Houghton. I'm a huge Israel fan. He and his band are killer, but Joel slayed it. He had the crowd in the palm of his hands in 30 seconds. And I was like, we talked and we ended up becoming friends. And for the last 10 or 11 years, he's been my musical director. So every big show that I do or on tour, he's always with me doing that. And we had gotten this kind of camaraderie. He knows how I sing. I know how he sings. And we started doing a whole bunch of stuff together every night, just he and I. Luke and I got together about 10 years ago, and I was a performance coach. And so I worked with a lot of bands on their stage shows, and we started talking, and we instantly, in about 30 seconds, realized we were going to be best friends. And we just started hanging out, talking and loving music together and talking about different ways to connect emotionally to this music. And we just grew as friendship. We grew, our friendship grew, and our love for music grew. And so we were both at the stage of our career where we feel like we've got something special and feeling so frustrated. There's nothing worse than feeling like you're an island. Luke was put out this incredible music and feels a little bit like an island. I'm doing the best music of my career, and I still feel like an island trying to do it all on my own. And we had this little pity party together, and we started chatting and dreaming about, well, what could we do together? And then all of a sudden I said, if we're going to do this together, you and I, Luke, we need Joel. And we had no idea that three completely crazy different voices, and let's face it, different people come from very different way, but we'd known each other, done stuff together, and all of a sudden this glue, we had no idea this glue was going to solidify our sound, our friendship, and our desire to put on a show together. And I'll tell you, we added people to the show. We had other people involved, and we went, nope, the magic's gone. We need to get back to the three of us. There's something about three distinct voices and personalities. We bring different stuff, but our friendship shines through. The love for the music shines through. And then together, there's something that happens when all three of us sing that I did not expect. I just did not expect it.
No, I didn't either, Kevin. And we've only just been talking about this for the last couple months after we really started doing our like real full tour dates, and we did a pretty substantial tour in Florida and Oregon, and it just, we'd be warming up backstage and we'd be like, man, and as Kevin said, like we'd had a couple other musicians with us for a couple of shows, and they would add harmonies and it would just, it's like addition by subtraction. Like it was just like,
Yeah.
no. And it would just sound so much better when they weren't singing with us. Like, and
And they
so
were
that was
good.
just that was a big sign. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about phenomenal
Yeah.
singers joining us,
Yeah.
like phenomenal. It wasn't anything to do with that. It was just this secret sauce. And I think there's something nice too when we're going into these theaters, whether it's a large theater like the Sanger Theater in Pensacola, or whether, we're going to be doing Aventura, which is a 300 seater, beautiful theater, also in Florida. It's just you allowing the audience to really hear each distinct voice in harmony. And I'm a big fan. Like Kevin, you grew up doing a lot of 4-part harmony,
Yeah, I
even
did.
with your dad and stuff, like, right? So you come from that world. So I would have thought you'd be like, well, we got to bring a 4th singer in here. And even you were just like, I
Nope.
don't know.
I know, it's crazy.
It's so, and it's funny because I was also very, very lucky to get to work with a guy named Lamont Dozier of Holland Dozier Holland. I believe I may have written the last song he ever wrote with him was a collaboration we did called My Life is a Song. And I'm telling the story because Lamont came from the gospel world as well, obviously. He grew up singing in the church. And in fact, his aunt was the church choir director. And I'll never forget something Lamont said to me, because I've always done a lot of cover songs. I love to reimagine songs and then also do original songs. Like a lot of my albums will have both.
Right.
And so Lamont's like, yeah, it's when I was growing up in the church, my aunt said, Lamont, you're so creative. You're this super creative little kid. Don't worry about what other people did with these songs. He's like, yeah, but they're these iconic songs, these gospel songs. And she's like, do it your way.
Right.
Do them your own way. And I walked away from that experience just really kind of like going, wow, like that's just because it's so fun to be able to do cover songs where you're almost it feels like you're writing a song. Like it feels, it has that same creative output. And it's just so satisfying.
Right. And what I'm thinking about too, as you were talking about that, is when the fans show up to hear y'all, they've already got the excitement built up within them of these guys. They know the songs by heart. They grew up listening to the songs. They're bringing that with them, and you're giving them. It's like somebody that's hungry coming to a buffet, and you go, "Here you go," and it's not bad food. It's the best they've ever had. So it's like you've prepared this presentation to them, so they're already ready for it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
When you have it built up within you, you get the chill bumps when you turn on a Lionel Richie album and you go, whoa, you're already excited. So if you're excited, they're excited, and it comes together. That's what makes me smile, because I think that's a big part of it. The people growing up loving the music, and then you're bringing it to them. And of course, Kenny's not with us anymore, so that's the only way really to hear somebody that well in that concert setting, right?
But I'll tell you, one of the things that I'm noticing that I love about the way we're approaching this music, I've helped out on occasion some Elvis guys when I put a quartet together for them, and I've been a part of. So I've teased myself in that world a little bit and watched the pressure on those guys to be exactly what the original was is crazy. And every song, the audience is judging, are they doing this right?
Wow.
We take all of that angst away. We don't try to be Kenny, Lionel, or Smokey. We want to pay tribute to incredible music. So the judgment and the criticism is instantly kind of, oh, I don't need to be critical of this. I just get to enjoy the song. That's what I love. We don't have that angst. We're not trying to be anything. We're just artists that love this music, that get to sing it with our friends. And I'm telling you, that emotion and that love of it just flows over the audience. And that's what people are responding to. The music's great, but they're responding to the emotional creativity of what it means to pay homage to music you love.
Right.
Really well put.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. Talk about the debut single, Islands in the Stream. Now, that's a cool cover. Can you talk about that some?
Well, it's funny. Every time, no one wants to be an island. You kept saying that, Kevin, and I never thought that.
Exactly.
That's the first time I've heard you say that, and it's just so beautifully stated. Because that is, it's like Kevin and I, we met for coffee at a place called Tim Hortons. Doesn't get much more Canadian than that.
Yeah, that's for
And
sure.
Kevin and I have a real love for the United States. I've spent so much time there, as Kevin has with the Gaithers, and I'm doing his own thing. I've spent a lot of time touring the U.S. with a guy named Jim Brickman, who I'm sure a lot of your listeners will know. Incredibly talented guy, and I've been coast to coast to coast, and I just love the country. And Kevin and I are just sitting there in this very Canadian setting, talking about how badly we want to start touring more in the United States and doing what we want to do on our terms. But it can be very difficult. The music industry is not an easy place. It's just not, and it's gotten more difficult over the past years with the changes with technology and streaming. And I don't even need to get into all that. But
Yeah.
and just doing it on your own and feeling like an island. and I thought that was, Kevin, that's just the perfect way to put it. And then so when we do Islands in the Stream, when we started working on it, we've all three of us just felt like it's just another one of these just all-time great songs.
Yeah, totally.
But it's also a song where there's a catharsis to it. Like, it's very cathartic personally for me to sing. I can't speak for Kevin. I think it is. It's very healing. And you look out at the audience and you go, this is a love song, but this is also a song about not feeling like an island, about how connected we all are, and how it's just, we're all, the world's just such a crazy place. And this is a night where we can come together and just feel that love. And we often end our sets with Islands in the Stream. I mean, thankfully we end up doing encores and stuff, but that's just, it just feels, doesn't it, Kevin, feel like the perfect song to kind of wrap up a set with?
It's one of those songs that you can just feel the energy of the room pick up as you start. The entrance of it starts, and you just you hear it, you see everybody going, "Oh, yes, I was waiting for this song." It's magical because these songs resonate emotion, and this was such a huge song. Everybody resonates with it. It's fantastic, and they start singing along with it, and it's great.
And it's just it's so iconic that it's one of these songs too where it doesn't have a hook that starts it. There's no kind of identifying melody. It's just dun 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 dun. It's just two chords. But instantly people are like, they know exactly what song you're doing. It doesn't matter where you are. And it's just like you look out at the audience too, and it's so cool because there's a lot of people from the generation that grew up with that music. But Kevin, it's so cool where you will see, and we're seeing this more and more as we tour, people that are bringing their kids or sometimes even their grandkids, and then the kids kind of walking away from the show going, I'd never heard of that song and I loved it, and I want to know more about Motown, and I want to know more about Kenny Rock, So we really feel like, I don't know, I feel like if we were doing a pure tribute, and there's tribute bands out there that I've seen that I love, don't get me wrong, but I feel like for us personally, if we were doing a pure tribute, it would be more difficult to carry on their legacy and honor their legacy, I guess. Yeah. Smokey and Lamont both speak about, like, they wouldn't spend time with us, and they even said this, if they didn't feel like we were going to honor their music. And they literally were just like, no, you guys, like, get out there, play for as many people as you can, because we want people to always remember this music, and we don't want them just to remember it from listening to recordings. We want them to listen to it, and that's, I think, partly why they love the reimagines too. It's just like, no, it's like the gateway drug to get through the younger generation too, like where they're hearing it, in a more maybe contemporary manner or a more acoustic manner that's a little more like, oh, okay. And then they go and hopefully discover more Kenny Rogers and become a fan of Kenny Rogers, and we're the conduit to that. Like, Kevin, what could be cooler than that?
It's so cool. I not only do we get to play for people our age and older that remember this stuff, but there's nothing like introducing them. They go, oh, that's a great song. Oh, yeah, it's iconic. It's like 40 years old, but it's still amazing. And they're like, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Do y'all do a cover of Stuck on You?
Yes.
That's my theme song. See, Stucky. Okay.
I like it.
We promise
we'll sing that for you, Gary.
Can you put a light on me?
At the Sanger Theater. Maybe we need to have you introduce us at the Sanger in Pensacola.
I would not say no. I promise.
That's a beautiful. I was lucky enough to play there with Brickman, and when I played there with Jim Brickman, this has got to go back 6 or 7 years ago. Honestly, I was just like, I don't know if I'll be able to play this theater. It's a big, beautiful 1,600 seat theater, and the dream's coming true. And I gotta say, "Stuck on You," that to me is one of my favorite songs in the set, and I don't sing it. Kevin sings the daylights out of it, and the harmonies in that song are just, it's like, again, because I've always fronted bands, I just didn't sing a lot of harmonies, even though I grew up singing so much harmony. I was in a band, a duo where we did a lot of harmony. But when I started fronting the Icons of Soul thing that I was doing, I'm not singing any harmonies. But when I sing harmonies to "Stuck on You" with Kevin and then Joel on piano and me on acoustic guitar, that's an incredible song.
Yeah, and we do something really special. We won't give it away, but we do something really special with that song that kind of gets a reaction every time. It's so much fun.
You'll have to come to the show to find out what that is, though.
Yes, you will.
That's a teaser for everybody.
There you go.
You're making me want it. Let's do it right now. Let's go. So what has been the response to these shows? Have you heard people personally that come up to you and go, how they've remembered a song and how you capture that? I know hearing fans of theirs and yours, I know they have some positive things to say. Do they come up to you sometimes and they're blown away by the music? What's their response been?
It sounds ridiculous to say, and it feels almost arrogant to say this stuff, but what we're finding is that this music and the stripping it away, allowing the melody and the harmonies to stand, people are coming up to us, some with tears in their eyes, going, "I remember this." We had some guys in Boca Raton grab the owner of the theater and say, "This is the greatest show you've ever had at this theater. We want this. We want more of this music. These guys got to come back." It seems almost visceral. We did a show at a gated community in Florida, and the people could not get enough. Like, they just kept cheering. And you start to play a song and you sing the first word and they start cheering, and you're just like, they're responding like I respond. And that's when you've hit on something. If they can feel the music the way I feel it, because I lived it. I'm a musician. I care about it. I think about it differently. When they can feel it as strongly as I feel it, I go, we're onto something. And that's what we're finding, is that the response is visceral. People are coming up going, "I feel this. I remember those songs. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for stripping it down and doing something different with this song." I'm blown away at the response, and it's absolutely making me want to get back on the road every day I'm not on the road.
Yeah. It's very addictive. I think the way we're doing it is, like, we really honor these lyrics, because these are all-time great, iconic lyrics. So anything that steps on people being able to hear the words and being able to hear each distinct voice and the harmonies, we're very careful with that. Because we've all produced lots of music. We've all written songs. We've all spent a lot of time in the studio, and so we're very conscious of that. And at times, like, I've been pretty neurotic too. At times, going, "Man, we're really turning this song on its head." Like The Gambler, and Joel's like. So what's amazing about him is, and why he's kind of the producer of our band and the music director, is because he's so confident in his decisions. He's like, no, this is great. The audience is going to respond. I know it. And
he's right.
And he's always right. and it's like, cause when, like you are a little nervous to change an arrangement even a little bit, because again, these songs are as important to us as they are to the audience, honestly. So we're very careful with it. But again, we want to honor our desire and our passion to do it in our own way, and the response from the audience, and we get a lot of people that come up to us after shows, and it's beyond our expectations. Like, I wasn't expecting this reaction this soon at all. It was just like, and that's why we're booking into these larger theaters already, because we're just seeing such a powerful response, and we're like, well, I think we should go to this theater now, because we feel like people are going to come, especially with your help.
Yeah.
Promoting it.
Well, we can help, each other out, all the time. Um, well, when you were younger, and both of you when you're younger, and you're listening to your favorite artist, and now you're singing those songs. I mean, there's got to be probably a personal feeling, probably a really touching emotion within you to be standing in front of all these people, singing the songs that you love, but also connecting with those people. It's like I may have said it earlier about, you kind of get into that mode that, uh, I don't know, it's almost like a part of them or within you, right?
Yep.
But do you picture yourself being like Kenny Rogers without getting the beard on, and the sideburns? I mean, is there something within you that do you see him in your mind on stage? Like I would, if I was singing, I'd see him as I was singing and just picture him watching me and smiling or something, because it's such a big deal to sing songs like that. Do you feel that within you?
I don't know if I would describe it the same way, but I'll tell you what I feel. I have this incredible sense of gratitude that I get to sing songs that I grew up dreaming of singing. So I picture myself with my hairbrush in front of a mirror, like I did the first time I heard Lionel Richie, when Kenny Rogers used to sing, Lucille. I sang that in front of the mirror with the hairbrush. I know these songs so intimately because I wanted to be the one that sang these songs. And so to be on a stage, and I'll tell you that the time that hits me most every night is the Stuck on You song. When that piano starts, I feel this sense of gratitude come over me. And I'm old enough now to not get caught up in the emotion and not get caught up in if somebody likes this or they don't like this. I'm not as crazy as I used to be, but I have this sense of calm that comes over me and this intense gratitude. I'm singing these songs. I remember when this came out. I remember where I was when this, and I'm now getting to present my version of this to a whole bunch of people that grew up listening to this. I have an incredible sense of gratitude that I get to do that, and it blows me away that people will come and hear me do versions of song that moved me when I was a kid, and now the same thing happens.
Yeah,
That's the way I see it.
I don't think, Kevin, you probably don't know that how close I have come to like weeping on stage because the first show we did, the first show in Florida that we did, where it was packed, and it was really the fruition of what had been, well, quite a time of planning and talking and fantasizing, really, like, could this work? We're not putting on the beards and the costumes and the wigs. Like, will people want to come to this show? And all of a sudden we're there, and I think it happened right from the first. We do a medley of songs to get things started. That's just so much fun. And I'm just looking around at the room and how I'm like, wow. I look at Kevin, I'm just, it worked. Like, it's working. Like, and it's just very emotional, like very emotional. And I'm like kind of like trying to keep it together. And it really took me aback. But
It's startling, isn't it?
yeah, and it's just the amount of joy that you can feel it gives to people. And, especially we're touring quite a bit in Florida. And Florida is really just this wonderful, I mean, I've fallen in love with it a long time ago, but maybe being Canadian and just growing up in northern Manitoba, palm trees and warm weather, the novelty will never get old for me. But it's also just, there's so many beautiful venues and there's so many people there that remember this music and want to come to see live music. And it's just a special place for us. And just to see it kind of, there's a lot of tribute bands in Florida. There's a lot of cover bands, but for us to kind of be there, and I feel like we're fairly unique in what we're doing. So you don't know, like, I know Joel's an incredible singer. I know Kevin's an incredible singer. I can't really speak for myself, but I'm just like, okay, well, I think people will like it, but there's no guarantee. So I think that in of itself was a pretty emotional thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely got to be emotional to be a part of that and to be singing those songs. And, and And I think you have two different kinds of feelings, I guess, within the audience and within yourself. You're remembering the song. The song was written from a perspective to make you feel a certain way, like Stuck on You, like a love song. It makes you feel a certain way if you in that mode.
Yeah.
Or you can remember the nostalgia part. What were you doing when that song came out?
Yeah.
How old were you? What did you do? So many emotions that you're bringing out of the people,
Yeah.
and I think that's why I think a lot of people are kind of holding on to nostalgia. Or, the world's crazy, got a lot of things going on. It kind of brings you back to a familiar place, a happier time. You've got three guys that are friends that you can tell are sincere that are bringing it to you.
Yeah.
So that's got to be a
too.
big, right? It's got to be a big part of the reason why people are loving this is that nostalgia and that just, and the fact that you said, you're not putting on the costumes. That would be almost like you're trying to add something to it to make them like you even more when you don't need it as far, no offense to the people that do. I'm just saying, but if you're good enough and you are, they're going to be drawn to you based on those performances and they're going to really appreciate it. Right.
I want to tell you one other thing that I've been thinking about this, and I don't know if I mentioned this to you, Luke. I think one of the things that happens in live music is the emotional connection. One of the things that excites me is this. Joel, Luke, and myself have been touring for a lot of years. We've never been a part of anything that had this much hope. I don't have to go and promote myself. I don't have to have anybody know my name. They're going to know the music of the band called the Undercovers, which is doing music that they love. So the gratitude that we have as artists to be able to perform every night music that we love, that's not getting old because I'm not taking that for granted. I've been doing this for 40 years. And to finally have something that is resonating with audiences in a deep way where it can grow, they're seeing our gratitude, they're feeling our gratitude coming through this music, and it's making it even better. Because I don't take this for granted. Every night I get to pick up a microphone and be a part of the Undercovers with these two guys. I have chills. I'm singing songs I love, and that's what people are experiencing. It's more than just enjoying music. There's an emotional and a spiritual connection that's happening with something good is happening here. And gratitude, as an artist, I think it's completely underrated. People don't understand. If you're not grateful to do what you do, they will know it. Well, every time I take a microphone, I can tell you this. I am so grateful to be on that stage singing and performing. It matters to those people because it matters to me.
Right.
Yeah, I get to like another song where I'm kind of side stage is We've Got Tonight, which a lot of people don't realize that Kenny was definitely the one that brought that song to life. But sorry, I'm blanking on his name.
Bob Seger.
Bob Seger was the one who wrote it and put it out, and it wasn't nearly the hit it was as when Kenny did it. And it's a very produced song. The original is very produced, and you could add all kinds of production to it, and drums and synths and strings. I got kicked off the stage. Joel's like, I got this. Kevin's like, I got this. So I get to I'm side stage just listening to them do it, and I get to be a fan. And it's a unique thing for me to just sit back, and I have such a different perspective now. And again, it's like a wow moment. And I think it's interesting. I was thinking about why, the songs, it almost escalates the songs or elevates the songs by stripping them down. I use the phrase addition by subtraction, because I'd never heard the lyrics that powerful before it was stripped down to just this beautiful piano accompaniment played by Joel Parisien, which he's a world-class keyboard player, piano player, and a world-class singer, Kevin. And I'm like, wow, I love these lyrics have never hit me like this. There's nothing getting in the way of this purity of this song. So I think that's part of it too. I mean, again, some of these theaters we get to play, including Sanger and a bunch of other, just check out theundercoverslive.com and you can see all our tour dates. But a lot of them have beautiful pianos and beautiful acoustics. And I think Kevin's the same way, and I know Joel is. Like we're fans of theaters. Like we're theater, like if I could collect theaters like along the way, and I love to take lots of pictures and lots of videos and watch them afterwards, just of the empty theater, because they're these beautiful architectural things that capture a moment in time. And to sit back and listen to Kevin and Joel on this beautiful grand piano in a beautiful theater, it's just like, it just doesn't get any better.
Right. And they're always kicking you off the stage. Do you ever kick them off the stage? I'm just saying to make up for the.
You know,
He
I don't
takes
think
over
I
on a
don't
few
think I
songs.
do. I don't think I
Yeah,
get
you
to
don't.
kick you guys off.
Well, you don't kick us off, but you kind of take over a couple of songs,
Okay. There you go.
and which is good, because I'll tell you, the interesting thing is, one of the things I love is that all three of us have kind of lost our ego. It's
Good.
we all are enjoying watching each other do what they do.
Yeah.
30 years ago, 20 years ago, I may not have been okay with just sitting back and watching Luke do his thing or Joel do his thing, but we all are kind of cheering each other on. Like when you get to hear Luke do Tears or Cruisin', or some of these songs that are the poeticness of Smokey's writing. I didn't know the lyrics that well because I don't pay attention to lyrics the same way when you're listening to a pop song. When you have to strip it back and listen every night, and now I know the song, I know his words better than I do mine half the time. And you hear these, it brings joy. And I'm telling you, that's the fun part of the show. I'm having as much fun when I'm listening to them sing as they do when I'm singing. And that's the beautifuln's of this music, because when you watch
people really, the audience
live,
really sings along too, which is so cool.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
they, like you said, Gary, like it's so nostalgic. They grew up with this music, and I think the way that we interpret it live, you know, allows us to bring the audience into the bands in many moments where the whole crowd is singing along to every word, and we don't even have to teach it to them,
no,
which is so cool. You know, like they're just like boom, and it's funny. Like we'll try and catch them off guard. Like I try to have fun with them, and it's just like you're singing along to Cruising or something like that, and then all of a sudden you stop and point the audience at them, and they're already, and I'm expecting them to kind of like whoa, but no, they don't miss a beat.
they're still singing full
They're
tilt.
singing.
Great.
They call my bluff every night.
That's awesome. You're talking about the egos. You know, that's a big deal with a lot of bands these days, that the reasons why they can't get along. That, you know, I mean, the fact that you don't have egos, that you understand, that you're a fan of each other, that's a rare quality. And to be friends, not just like, okay, you show up at a gig and you say, hey, how you doing? You sing. Because a lot of these bands don't get along. You're singing up there and he's looking at you like, I hate you. You know, after the show, I'm gonna, I mean, but to get along and to appreciate each other, like you said, the fans would know. They surely would know who's real and who's, legit. If they're watching you, right?
Yeah, well, this is a true
real gift.
partnership, right? Like when we embarked on this, we're like, well, okay, how's this going to work? What are the roles? All that kind of stuff. And it's just like, we just were right away. We're like, well, this is just going to be we split everything 3 ways: the songs, the singing, the finances, everything. Like, it's because it's like, I want to be in that position where, I'm setting these guys up to succeed at every turn, every decision that we make collectively. It's just like, well, whether we're producing someone because we kind of produced each other. We're actually just finishing our first album, right? Like, and we put out the first 2 singles, and we got our 3rd single coming out in August 2nd, The Gambler. And so we're not only on stage, we're in the studio together, and we don't have an outside producer, because Joel and myself have spent years learning how to produce music. And Kevin will say he doesn't, but he's also a great producer. And just going like, how can we make Kevin sound as great as he's ever sounded? And the same thing happens on stage. It's like, if I got to leave the stage, if I think that adds to the performance, no problem. I have no problem. And you know what? I got it, to your point, Gary, like 20 years ago, I don't know if I'd be feeling that way. I'd be like, man, I want to be singing. I want to be on stage all the time. I want to sing more of the songs. You know, we're like counting the set list. Well, I think, you know what? I think Kevin's singing 30 seconds longer than I am. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled. I mean, I'd maybe be a little sad if I wasn't singing anything.
Right.
Like, you know,
So would we. So would we.
You're sweeping the floor tonight. You're not singing anything.
Yeah.
He's bringing the food. Yeah. I mean, that just shows a sign of, I guess, maturity in everything, in relationships. And because I don't think I'm like that, because I'd be like, man, I only sang once, and this guy, he's sang six. You know, I'd be taking notes of what I didn't like. You know, but that's that makes me smile, because I'm thinking, man, I need to take lessons. Are you going to come out with a book later on 10 ways to get along with your?
I will tell you, let me tell you this. You surround yourself with people you would do life with if you weren't doing this gig.
Yeah.
Luke and I were already friends. Joel and I were already friends on and off stage. It makes a difference when you actually care about a person's life, their family, his goals, his dreams. I care about Luke and Joel as humans. We just happen to do this together, and that caring will translate to us as a group. And I do believe one of the things that is in our secret sauce is that on stage, people can see that we actually care about each other. It's a huge, huge deal. We are very holistic people. If you watch The Police, those guys didn't like each other anymore, and that tour didn't last too long. There's something special about seeing three guys on stage that literally, Luke and I literally almost after each song look at each other and go, man, that was awesome. And that, I'm telling you, that's a secret sauce. That's a piece of a band that you can't put in writing. I can't put that on a billboard. There's a special joy that we feel, and it changes the way people hear these songs. So
Awesome.
Yeah, so when I was a little kid, my dad, when he found out that I wanted to be a singer, first of all, my mom and dad were just shocked. They just had I hid it from them. I was so embarrassed about becoming the singer and singing these love songs and all that kind of stuff. And my dad finally kind of wrapped his head around it, and he goes, okay, well, if you're going to be in a band, you got to treat it like a job, like a real job. It's not just a hobby. It's got to be a career. So fast forward to the Undercovers, and we show up like we're ready for our job. We're in suits, 3-piece suits, and to the extent that we actually do change our suits halfway through the set, because one suit's not enough. So I was thinking about my dad. I'm like, okay, Dad, I'm like, this is a career. I'm in my suit. So Kevin and I will go backstage when Joel is singing, I think it's Hello.
yeah,
Because it gives us enough time to go back and kind of change into our other suit. And but so many times, Kevin, where I'm literally just captivated. I'm not lying. I'm captivated by Joel's version of this song, because I'm a bit of a soul singer, and I listen to another soul singer, and I'm just like, man, I love it. And Kevin's like, Luke, we have 30 seconds left, you fool. Like, you're not changed. Like, what are you doing?
stop listening to Joel
Stop.
and change. I've caught him a few times. I'm like, dude, you're not doing anything. You got to change. Oh yeah.
And he's like putting my shirt on for me and straightening my tie, and like we're jumping out there.
Come on, let's go, buddy.
No word of a lie. How many times do you think that happened on the last tour? I say that happened almost every second show.
Almost every second show. I think so. 50% of the time for sure.
Just don't come out in your BVDs in a tie or something.
Yeah.
And you'll be okay. Or unless that's extra. Is it some extra that the fans get from,
That's the late night show. Yeah.
The late night.
Yeah. That's that. Yeah. That's truly the Undercovers. That's the
There you go.
Under the
Definitely.
Covers.
Very good. Very good. Well, I won't keep you guys. I will be talking to you though after this, and if you want to give you some more information about the concert or whatever, if you want me to.
We would love that. We'd love that.
But I think okay, the new album's coming out. Now, when is that going to be?
The album will drop the full album will drop this fall.
This fall.
But we've got our third single. So we released Islands in the Stream. and blows us away. In the first 3 weeks, it's nearly 700,000 views on YouTube.
That's
It's gone really well.
awesome.
And Shop Around, Joel's version of the Smokey Tune Shop Around is absolutely incredible. That's on. And the next one, I believe it's the first weekend in August that
August 2nd.
The Gambler will release, and we'll release some singles like that. But the fall we'll have our full album,
A
and
full 12-song album. Yeah. And
they'll already be able to pre-purchase it on our website, the Undercovers live.com. And so it's coming. We don't have a release date for it. We're working with our record label on exactly when that's going to be, but it's coming.
Cool.
Yeah.
So cool. Well, I thank you guys for being here today, and I know the fans are going to love to hear you. I know I am. It's going to be a great show. Like I said, let's do it right now. Y'all get ready. Put on the
I would
suit.
love to. Maybe we
Right?
we could do another podcast sometime when we're all in the same room, the three of us, and we could do a couple tunes for you for sure.
Definitely, man. I'd love to hear that. Well, thank y'all so much for
Thanks, Gary.
Anytime.
And there you have them, the Undercovers, talented group of guys. Looking forward to meeting them and hearing them perform. Head on over to their website, Rogers, Ritchie, and Robinson, for more information. Find out where they're going to perform near you and find out about new music and their new album release. And get excited because they're talented guys, and I know you'll love them when you hear them. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, everybody, always remember to keep the music real.